Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our installment of Scott's Selections here for Thursday, December 3rd. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up winning another play of the day in college basketball. We ended up taking Eastern Kentucky minus 3.5, which was available on FanDuel at minus 114. Huge line move in that game. Line ended up going from 3.5 to 7. So we ended up beating a 3.5-point line move, and it didn't matter. Eastern Kentucky ended up opening a huge lead in the first half. They ended up winning by about 17. Really sweat-free, and it was a very nice, easy winner for us. So far, so good with college basketball. And hopefully that'll continue for the play of the day. Now, there is an announcement, though. I'm going to be doing the multiple videos tonight. There are a couple of games that I like. I'll be doing one video on a college basketball game that I'll be doing right now. And I'll also be doing a video on one of the college football games that is going to be taking place as well. So stay tuned for that if you are more interested in seeing college football or you want to see both, because they're both free. So without further ado, we're going to start off. We're going to be talking about a matchup here between St. Francis and Liberty. And the play of the day is going to be on Liberty minus 10.5, which is available on DraftKings at minus 110. Now, a couple reasons why I like Liberty in this spot. First of all, Liberty, breaking down the records for both teams, Liberty is 2-2, and St. Francis PA is 1-2. However, the main difference between the records, because of course those records don't sound that impressive, is the strength of competition. And Liberty has faced off against some pretty solid teams from some pretty big Power 5 conferences. They ended up losing to Purdue in the opener by 13. They beat Mississippi State by 11. They beat South Carolina by 16, and they lost to TCU by 4. Now, looking at St. Francis, they beat Pittsburgh on the road, impressive win. They lost to UMBC at home by 15, and then they lost to Virginia on the road by 25. Now, losing to Virginia on the road by 25, I'm not going to get mad at them for that. That kind of comes with the territory. But it is worth mentioning that there's a huge discrepancy in terms of the strength of opponents that both teams have faced so far. Liberty's clearly more battle-tested, as all four of their opponents have come from Power 5 conferences, and I do think that will translate well, as this will be the easiest opponent that Liberty has faced so far this season. Now, looking at some other variables, Liberty, this will be their first home game of the season. All 4 games that they played that I mentioned before all came on a neutral court. So this will be the first home game. Now, of course, home court doesn't mean as much as it used to, but at the same point, Liberty has announced there will be 250 fans in attendance. So it's not going to be completely an empty arena. I don't know how much of an impact the 250 fans are going to have, but I guess some noise is better than no noise at all. So we'll see what happens there. But one of the main reasons why I like Liberty in this spot is because of their coach. I think Richie McKay is one of the most underrated coaches in the country. I think that he's absolutely tremendous, and I think that he should get a job at a high-profile school. Probably should have already had a job at a high-profile school at this point. Now, looking at his resume so far with Liberty, he's won at least 29 games in each of the last 2 seasons. He's been remarkable. And Liberty, even though they're I don't even know if you can call them a mid-major, but I guess they are because they're in such an out-of-place conference, they are phenomenal. Now, of course, they did lose a lot of pieces from last year. They lost 3 starters. They lost Scotty James. They lost Caleb Holmesley, who are 2 of the best players in program history. However, they do bring back a couple of solid guards. They bring back Darius McKee, who's averaging 17.3 points per game and 5.3 rebounds per game, and Elijah Cuffey, who's averaging 10.3 points per game and 2.8 rebounds per game. They do have some solid guards for a backcourt, even though they are missing some of their key pieces from last year. But it's nothing in comparison to St. Francis. So Liberty's missing 3 starters from last year. St. Francis is missing 4. They're missing 4 starters, including their top 2 scorers. So offensively, they have struggled a lot in this season because of the fact that they have not really been able to replace those 2 guys. Whereas Liberty, even though they are missing, as I said once again, some key pieces from last year, they did score 84 points against Mississippi State and 78 points against South Carolina. So this team has shown flashes of being really good offensively despite missing some of their best players in the program's history. But St. Francis already went through their resume. The one thing that is worth mentioning is the fact that Liberty is averaging 4.2 more points per game. They're shooting roughly 4% better from the floor, 4% better from 3, and 4% better from the foul line. Plus, they're allowing more than 8 less. They're allowing more. So St. Francis is allowing 8 more points per game, and Liberty once again has faced off against better competition. I understand this line's at 10.5. This line could be climbing. I saw it at 11 on Bet Online, and this line should probably close around 12.5 or 13. But Liberty, in my opinion, even though both these teams aren't exactly name brands, I think Liberty is just on another class in comparison to St. Francis, and I do think that St. Francis will struggle against the backline defense that Liberty possesses, as this team is phenomenal defensively, and offensively, I think it is better than St. Francis, as St. Francis is only averaging 65 points per game. So I do think that St. Francis will struggle. They're shooting 42.5% from the floor. That number should be probably around 39%, 40% in this game. But I think Liberty will do enough to win this game by at least 14 points. So for that reason, the play of the day here for Thursday, December 3rd is going to be on Liberty minus 10.5, which is available on DraftKings at minus 110 at time recording of 2:53 a.m. Eastern Time. That's been the Installment Scott Selections. Good old call of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.